Hey everyone, welcome. This is your introduction to your weekly newsletter planner. So email marketing is still very relevant for online businesses, and obviously in the service-based industry, the strategies are changing a little bit. So it's not enough to simply send out emails regularly that only contain services that you're promoting. You actually want to be consistent with your newsletters and provide value that keeps your readers looking forward to the next newsletter or wanting more information on what you have to offer. You want to be very intentional with your marketing efforts, and that includes your newsletter. And you want to remain consistent in the timing and the day. So you want to try to send your email on the same day and the same time each week. You want to consider the layout of your newsletter. You want to make sure that it's not too text heavy. You want to have a variety of images, and you want to break up the text so that it's easier for your readers. And you want to keep mobile devices in mind. And that's true with both your website and your newsletter. Any promotions that you send out, you want to make sure that it is still attractive on a mobile device, because we're finding that most people are consuming things like newsletters on mobile devices, whether it be their phone or an iPad. Your newsletter timing, every market is different, and staying in touch on a regular basis, being consistent, that is really the key. But you do want to consider the day and time based on your audience. So if your audience includes busy moms with kids, then Sunday morning might be a good time for your readers. If they are executives, you may want to consider a Tuesday or a Wednesday once they're already into their week and through that backlog of emails on Monday. And then if they're entrepreneurs like yourself or they're home-based businesses, any weekday is probably just as good as another. You do want to just play with that a little bit. Even though we say be consistent, you want to just change it up a little bit and track the metrics. Be sure to give it enough time to take hold before you make a decision, but play around with the days to see what is best for your audience. You want to build a cohesive editorial calendar. The editorial calendar should include an overall theme for the week, month, and quarter. It should include blog post subjects, social media content, any product releases, JV partner promotions, and any upcoming events. And then you want to review your editorial calendar at least weekly, looking ahead for several weeks so that you don't miss out on any important content or any opportunities to promote material in your newsletter. So there are worksheets in this workbook that will help you track your favorite newsletter inspiration. So you can keep track of anything that you may see, whether it be something that comes into your help desk. Maybe somebody sends a question and you think that that would be a great topic to cover in your newsletter. It could be topics that appear in your Facebook group or in Facebook groups that you're a part of. They could be questions or comments that you receive through social media or that you see on social media. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your pages, but you may be spotting certain trends. Any blog comments that you receive, even conversations that you have with individuals can spark some ideas for your newsletter. Another great tool is surveys. And another tip is subscribing to competitors' blogs and newsletters and following what it is that they're doing. That's going to give you a lot of content and ideas. And don't just look at the actual competitors, but you might want to look at those who serve audiences that are slightly different than your own. In every issue, you should include an introduction, a disclaimer, an about you section, social sharing options, your upcoming events, your latest products and promotions, an article or blog post, any tips and strategies, and of course, testimonials. So the introduction, typically it is some kind of story or something that ties in to your article. And then you can include that article or your latest blog post and link back to it on your blog. The About You section, that should include a high quality photo of yourself, and it should include a short bio, which we're going to help you walk through the steps of creating your short bio in the workbook. And then, of course, where to learn more. So you could link back to your About Me page or your contact page on your website or blog, and include that in your newsletter. For upcoming events, if you're a speaker or an author, this section is really useful for getting the word out about where you'll be appearing next. And that could include telesummits, podcast interviews. It could be live book signings and other live events, maybe even workshops or virtual events. Do make sure that you include the dates and times, whether or not you'll be speaking or just attending, and where readers can register, attend, or buy tickets. Your latest products, if you regularly create products, you should include those in your newsletter. Be sure to include any special coupons or discounts that are coming up. So if you're doing a launch and you have a coupon code, be sure to include that with the expiration dates and when the product or the limited offer will be removed. For promotions, this would include anything like affiliate or JV promotions that match your content for the week. Some ideas include complementary products or services. So if your newsletter is regarding marketing, you might want to include a JV or affiliate link to, you know, a social media marketing course that someone's offering or something that ties into that same content. You can include upcoming offers. You could include books that you recommend, and they could be yours or someone else's. You can always link back to them on an Amazon page, an Amazon affiliate link, and then any vendors that you work with. So we have some advertising on my own website where it could be for teamwork is a good example. I have a logo there. You could always include something like that in your newsletter as well to help build some of your affiliate earnings. And then social sharing. This is obviously really important to make sure that you have clickable links on your newsletter that go back to your website and to your various social media accounts. I know many of us have several different accounts that we use, but we're not very active on some of them. So you want to be careful not to include every single social media account that you do have. You want to make sure that you're sending them back to your primary accounts and maybe one or two others. So for myself, it would probably be Facebook, you know, Instagram, possibly Twitter, although I'm not super active on Instagram or Twitter. My primary social media platform would be Facebook. And then a disclaimer. This is really important. You know, every single newsletter that you send out, every broadcast and mailing that you send out should include an option to unsubscribe. And usually the email management system includes this automatically. But you also need to include your mailing address in that. Optionally, you might want to include a support email or a phone number so that readers can actually get in touch with you for any reason. You would want to include an affiliate disclosure if you have any affiliate links within your newsletter. And if you are not sure what to include or if you have any questions, you know, you could definitely check with an attorney for guidance. Every industry is different. So what you may need to include on your newsletter for a disclaimer might be a little different depending on your industry. All right, we talked before about staying consistent. So a newsletter is not a small undertaking, but the results can be phenomenal when you compare them to other forms of marketing. So before you jump in, spend some time with the workbook and the worksheets in there, brainstorming some ideas. And be sure to make sure that you have enough content and inspiration to keep you going for several weeks at a time. That's really important because when you get behind, it gets a little tricky trying to come up with content in time, and it usually affects your schedule, and it really keeps you from being consistent. Again, you want to revisit those emails and newsletters that you receive regularly. You want to follow competitors to see what they're doing. And then once you go through the workbook and you map out your plan, get to work. Start sending that newsletter. Even if you have a small list, you want to start nurturing that list right from the start. Your readers are really going to love this. They're going to be able to stay up to date with you, and they're going to be on top of everything that is happening in your business. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please message me or contact me by email, Christine@ChristineMorris.com. And you can also place comments in the Facebook group. I hope to hear from you soon.